My parents put me up for adoption because I was a boy. My mom said, "I wish you died as a baby." 19 years later, they showed up at my business, begging for money to send my niece to college, but karma couldn't have written it better. Hey Reddit, my parents didn't just play favorites, they straight up gave me away for being born the wrong gender. So I built my own life, my own family, and kept it moving. But of course they came crawling back years later, and things got messy fast. Before we get there, let me start at the real beginning. I'm 25, run a couple repair shops and a small wholesale line. Self-made, mostly. But that's not where this starts. This starts in company housing next to an industrial strip in Jersey City, where everyone knew everyone's business and nobody minded their own. Row houses pressed together like sardines. Noise from factories bleeding through walls. Diesel, fried food, and humidity hanging in the air. Gossip traveling faster than shift whistles. Mrs. Kotri, 2 doors down, once told my mother she'd seen me playing outside before my mother even knew I'd left. Sirens were background noise. Workers trudged home with grease on their uniforms and no hope of getting out. That was the world. I was the third kid, unplanned, unwanted. My parents, Ferris and Salma, already had 2 daughters when I showed up and ruined their system. Layla first, then Noor. They weren't rich. Delivery routes and mall retail don't go far. 2 kids was manageable. 3 was a burden, especially when the third came out with the wrong parts. Salma had a brilliant cost-saving plan. Hand-me-downs on rotation between my sisters. When I arrived male, she didn't adjust. She forced it anyway. I have fractured memories from age 5, 6, sparkly hair clips pinned to my head because they were already there. A lunchbox with Noor's name scratched out, mine scrawled underneath. Pink sneakers, a princess backpack, a ruffled jacket. Every item screamed wrong, and Salma dared me to complain. School was a nightmare. Kids have radar for weakness. They locked onto me instantly, called me Noor, used my sister's name like it was mine. I'd take the clips off before school. Salma would slap them back on. Said we couldn't afford new ones. Said I should be grateful. The bullying escalated daily. Shoves, trashing my lunchbox, games where they'd yell, "Hey Noor," and laugh no matter what I did. They followed me home chanting it. Neighbors watched through curtains and did nothing. Bathroom breaks were the worst. Boys blocked the door. Said I didn't belong. Teachers saw it and shrugged. Small community logic. If everyone knows, then nobody has to help. I'd come home crying. Ferris ignored me. Salma called me dramatic. My sisters thought it was comedy. Noor would repeat the insults at home just to watch me flinch. Layla joined in because it was easier. Salma never stopped it. Sometimes she smiled. I started acting out around 6, hiding their stuff, breaking toys, cutting the hair off Noor's favorite doll, spilling juice on Layla's homework. Small victories. Big consequences. I didn't care anymore. Punishments were harsh. Locked in my room for hours. No dinner. Making my own breakfast while my sisters were served. Ferris would walk past the door, pause, then keep going. Every time. Then came the day everything changed. Worst bullying session yet. 3 older kids cornered me by the playground. One yanked out a clip, waved it around, mocked me in a high-pitched voice. Another dumped my backpack. The third kicked dirt over everything. Teachers were 20 feet away. Did nothing. I walked home filthy, bleeding, and 6 years old with the understanding that nobody was coming to save me. Salma was in the living room with photo albums, getting ready for some family event. On the table sat a framed photo from a few months back. Ferris, Salma, Layla, and Noor in the center. Me on the edge, half-cropped, barely in frame. They'd paid for that photo, dressed up for it, and positioned me like an afterthought. I knew instantly it wasn't the photographer's choice. Something snapped. I grabbed the frame and smashed it. Glass everywhere. The photo torn. Everyone froze. Noor screaming, Layla crying, Ferris standing but not moving. Salma just stared. She didn't yell. That was the terrifying part. Her voice was calm, final. We're done. Like she'd been waiting for an excuse. She sent the girls to their room and made me clean every shard of glass while she watched. Didn't speak, didn't move, just watched me pick up pieces of a family I'd never really been part of. 2 days later, they told me I was leaving. Put me for adoption. They didn't do formal adoption paperwork right away. Couldn't afford the fees, didn't want the hassle of court dates and social workers. Instead, Ferris knew this couple 1 town over who ran a tailor kiosk with a T-window attached. Rena and Dev. Late 30s, no kids, worked brutal hours. They'd tried for children for years, looked into adoption, but the process was expensive and slow. When Ferris showed up offering a 6-year-old who needed a home, They saw it as fate. I remember the conversation. Me standing in the hallway, hidden behind the door. Ferris telling Salma the arrangement was set. My sisters celebrating. Actual joy. Salma saying the couple was poorer than us, that I probably wouldn't finish school. She didn't care. Neither did anyone else. Nor asked if they could have my room. Salma said yes. They were already dividing the space before I'd even left. That night I packed my stuff. One bag. Clothes that fit. The lunchbox with the scratched-out name. Not much else. I stared at the cot in the corner of my sister's room. The blanket with the hole. The cracked ceiling I'd memorized. Thought I should feel sad. Felt nothing. The drive over was silent. Ferris didn't talk. I didn't cry. Just watched the industrial strip fade into residential blocks, then into a different set of row houses. Same poverty, different zip code. He changed the radio station twice, never found anything he liked. Never looked at me. Rena and Dev's place was tiny. One bedroom. They'd converted their storage room into a space for me. Bare walls, thin mattress, but it was mine. A real room. A small window with a blue curtain, my favorite color. Later, I learned Dev guessed, but at the time it felt like someone finally saw me. Rena was warm immediately. Practical. Blunt in a good way. She looked at my hair clips and lunchbox, said nothing, just started gathering items for donations. Then she took me to a thrift store and let me pick out my own clothes. Plain, normal boy clothes. When we got back, she helped me cut the clips out of my hair. Fresh start, she said. No lecture. Just freedom. Dev was quieter, but kind. He showed me around the kiosk, explained how things worked. They were grinding 14-hour days, but they made space for me without complaint. That first week, Dev closed early 3 days in a row just to help me settle in. Rena said he'd never closed early in 8 years. The guardianship stayed informal for 2 years. Then a school administrator started asking about my enrollment paperwork. Dev spent 3 weekends tracking down Ferris, getting signatures for temporary guardianship. The process cost $400 in filing fees they didn't have. Rena worked extra shifts to cover it. I found the receipts years later. Saw the dates. Saw the sacrifice. For months, I waited for the trap. Expected Rena and Dev to turn mean. Trauma wires you for betrayal. But they stayed consistent. Fed me. Talked to me. Treated me like I mattered. It took almost a year before I believed it. The moment was small. I broke a plate washing dishes. It shattered everywhere. I froze, waiting for punishment. Dev just handed me a broom. Accidents happen, he said. That was it. No yelling. No locked rooms. No skipped meals. Just a broom and a calm voice. I cried that night for the first time since leaving Ferris and Salma. I got back into school that fall. Mid-session transfer was rough, but no more Nor nickname. No more playground ambushes. Just quiet days, learning to be normal. I started helping at the kiosk around age 8. Organizing supplies, cleaning the tea window, running change. By 10, I was handling alterations pickup and basic bookkeeping. Turned out I had a head for numbers and systems. Rena quizzed me constantly on margins and costs. I always got it right. Dev taught me how to negotiate, read people, spot good fabric from bad. Said it would matter more than any degree. High school was where things clicked. Business classes, accounting, basic economics. Teachers pushed college. I was thinking bigger, not climbing someone else's ladder, building something of my own. After graduation, I told Rena and Dev I'd run the kiosk full-time. Let them rest. They shut that down instantly. Said I was going to college, non-negotiable. They'd been saving for years. Lived like monks, no vacations, no unnecessary purchases. Dev had been doing side repair jobs for a decade. I argued. Said they'd already given me everything. Rena gave me that fierce look and said they were giving me one more thing whether I liked it or not, a future without limits. So I went. Studied business and systems. Every break and weekend I worked at the kiosk, learning what classrooms couldn't teach. Graduation day, they were front row, dressed sharp, beaming. They'd invited Ferris and Salma. Neither showed. It stung, but Rena and Dev filled the space. Rena cried during the ceremony. Dev's hand shook when he took photos. They were proud, truly proud. After college, they handed me everything they'd saved. $17,000. I tried to refuse. Dev refused my refusal. So I took it and made a vow. Every dollar would count. I started with phone repair. Small kiosk, high traffic area, low overhead, fixed screens, replaced batteries, long hours, tight margins. Every mistake hurt. Then, my first real crisis hit. A supplier sent a batch of defective screens, 40 units. I'd sold 15 before customers returned with issues. Had to refund everyone. Eat the cost. Nearly wiped me out. I spent 3 nights staring at spreadsheets, numbers refusing to balance. Dev found me at 2 in the morning, calculator next to cold coffee. You going to quit? He asked. Thinking about it. Don't. That was it. Just don't. And I didn't. Stayed up 3 more hours, mapped a path through. Contacted the supplier, documented everything. Threatened small claims. Got half refunded. Not perfect, but enough. I rebuilt trust 1 repair at a time. If a phone wasn't worth fixing, I told the customer straight. They remembered that. Within 18 months, I'd paid back Rena and Dev and opened a second location. Hired my first employee, a kid from the community college. Quick learner, good with customers. Paid him fair. Trained him right. He's still with me now as a manager. Then I pivoted into wholesale. Accessories, cases, chargers, bulk purchasing, thin margins, high velocity. By 24, I had 2 shops and a growing wholesale line. Nothing massive, but solid. Sustainable, scalable. Life was stable, predictable, good. Then Ferris walked into my repair shop. Her busy afternoon. Line of customers, phones stacked for pickup, usual chaos. I looked up from a screen replacement and froze. Ferris, standing in my shop. Older, grayer, but unmistakably him. The man who'd driven me to Rena and Dev's place 19 years ago and never looked back. Same posture, same way of standing with his weight on 1 foot. Recognition hit me like a punch. He walked up to the counter grinning, opened his arms for a hug. Customers were watching. I went through the motions. Felt like embracing a stranger. His cologne was different, but the grip was the same. Weak, perfunctory. The kind of hug you give someone you're obligated to touch, but don't actually want to hold. I pulled him aside. He was loud, praising me, saying how proud he was, how he'd heard about my success from someone who knew Dev, acting like my business was a family achievement, like he'd contributed somehow, talking about my drive, my talent, my business sense, using words like our and we when describing what I'd built, making customers think he'd been part of it. Your mother's going to want to see this place. I'll bring her by this weekend. Not a question. A statement. Assuming I'd be thrilled. Assuming 19 years of silence could be bridged by proximity to success. I didn't commit to anything. He left after 10 minutes. The rest of the day was a blur. Kept messing up repairs, zoning out mid-transaction. Mike asked if I was okay twice. I waved him off. Couldn't explain. Didn't want to. That night I went to Rena and Dev's. Told them everything. Said I didn't want to see Ferris and Salma. That they'd given up any right to my life when they'd handed me off 19 years back. Rena got that look. The one that meant incoming wisdom. Said forgiveness isn't about them. It's about me. That anger only hurts the person carrying it. I loved her, but she was wrong on this one. Some anger is justified. Some anger keeps you safe. Dev stayed quiet, then said one thing. They don't get to show up just because you're doing well. If you meet them, you set the rules. I agreed to meet on one condition. Rena and Dev had to be there. I needed witnesses. Needed people who actually cared in the room. Weekend came. Ferris and Salma showed up at Rena and Dev's place. Salma looked older. Tired in a way that suggested years of poor choices catching up. I'd imagined this moment 1,000 times. Thought they'd apologize. Acknowledge what they'd done. At minimum, show some awareness. Stupid of me, really. People like that don't develop self-awareness just because time passes. Instead, Salma opened with gratitude instructions. You should thank us. We found you wonderful parents. Look how successful you are. The audacity was almost impressive. Thank them for abandoning me? For the cropped family photos and the deliberate cruelty? For the sparkly clips and the playground beatings they enabled? Rena squeezed my hand under the table. Her signal to stay calm. I forced diplomacy. I'm blessed to have Rena and Dev. The rest was surface-level garbage. How's business? What are your plans? Nobody asked about the hard years. The nightmares that lasted until I was 16. The way I still flinched when people raised their voices too quickly. Ferris tried humor at one point. Made a joke about me turning out better than my sisters. Like it was a competition he'd won. Salma laughed. Hollow, performative. Dev's jaw tightened, but he stayed quiet. They left after an hour. I thought that was it. One awkward reunion, case closed. The next day, Salma called. I didn't recognize the number. Almost sent it to voicemail. Her voice. 19 years since I'd heard it on the phone. She got straight to business. No warmth, no small talk. She needed money. $18,000. Noor's daughter got into some certification program. Tuition was covered, but fees weren't. Plus, they had some informal loan from a friend that was coming due. How much exactly for which part? I asked. 18,000 total. It's all urgent. I'll need documentation. Certification invoice, loan breakdown. Who's owed what? Silence. Then irritation. You don't trust your own mother? I trust paperwork. She hung up. I sat there staring at my phone, that familiar childhood anxiety creeping back. The feeling of waiting for punishment, waiting for the other shoe to drop. I texted Salma. Simple message. Send me the certification invoice and loan details. I'll pay the institution directly. 3 days of silence. Then a different number called. Late night. I almost ignored it, but something made me pick up. Voice note. Shaky, soft. Layla, the younger of my 2 sisters. The voice note played in my quiet apartment. I hadn't heard her voice since childhood. It sounded different, adult, but something in the cadence was familiar. The slight hesitation before certain words. The way she rushed through uncomfortable parts. Hey, bro, it's Layla. I know this is weird. Haven't talked in forever, but I was hoping we could meet up. Just catch up. No pressure. Maybe that train station cafe near you? Saturday afternoon? Bro. First time she'd ever called me that. The word felt calculated, strategic. But part of me, the part that still wanted family, considered it. I texted back. Why now? Her response came fast. I've been wanting to reach out for a while. Life stuff. Would be good to reconnect. Something felt off, but I agreed. Train station cafe. Public. Saturday at 2. She showed up on time. Dressed nice. Smiled wide. Hugged me like we were close. The whole performance felt rehearsed. Her perfume was too strong. Her laugh too loud. Every gesture slightly exaggerated, like she was performing for an invisible audience. We ordered coffee. Small talk for 10 minutes. Then she eased into it. So, Mom mentioned you might help with the certification thing. That's really generous. Still waiting on documentation. Yeah, they're working on that. It's just, family should help family. Family usually sticks around longer than 6 years before asking for money. She laughed. Uncomfortable. Tried a different angle. Softer voice. Leaned in like we were sharing secrets. I get why you're guarded. What they did was messed up. But they were young. Struggling. People make mistakes. Mistakes are forgetting to pick you up from school. Not years of deliberate cruelty. She kept talking. Mom said not to bring up the money right away, but I guess I already did. She laughed nervously, realizing her slip. There it was. The admission. This whole thing was orchestrated. Salma had sent her as a messenger. Test my boundaries. Apply pressure through family channels. I wondered how long they'd rehearsed this. Whether Layla had practiced her lines in front of a mirror. Very family first. Very sales funnel. I kept my tone flat. She flushed. It's not like that. It's exactly like that. You wouldn't be here if Salma hadn't sent you. I stood up. Left cash on the table. Walked out while she was still processing. Heard her call my name once. Kept walking. 2 days later, Noor called. Didn't waste time with pleasantries. So you're really going to leave your niece hanging? After everything? After everything? Break that down for me. You know what I mean. You got lucky with Rena and Dev. Now you're successful. The least you could do is help family. I've asked for documentation 3 times now. The certification invoice. Who's the program through? Silence. Then, too quickly. It's through a career training center. Mom has the details. What's the center called? I don't remember exactly. It's legitimate, though. Send me the name. I'll look it up and pay them directly. Why are you being so difficult? I'm being careful. There's a difference. She switched approaches. Voice going sickeningly sweet. Look, what if we keep it small? Just 5,000. For the certification only. Would that work? Interesting. Lower number. Different sister. Same pressure campaign. And still no documentation. They were testing price points like I was a market they were trying to crack. Send me the invoice. Mom's handling the paperwork. Then Mom can send it. She hung up. I made one decision. Started tracking every call, every text, every demand. Timestamps. Exact wording. Dev had taught me early that records matter when people start rewriting history. One folder, one timeline. That's it. That weekend, Noor showed up at my main shop. Didn't buy anything, just browsed. Taking selfies. Posting them with captions like family business vibes and supporting my brother's hustle. Tagged the location. Made it look like she was involved. Mike texted me screenshots. She was building a narrative. Fake involvement. Fake support. Setting up for when she'd inevitably claim I owed her. My staff asked if she got a discount. I told them to charge full price. She made a scene at checkout. Loud enough for customers to hear. You're charging your own sister? That's messed up. I was in the back but heard everything. Came out. Kept my voice level. Everyone pays the same, including family. Her face went red. She paid, left her items on the counter and walked out. I addressed my staff immediately. If anyone claiming to be family tries that again, same policy. No exceptions. The message was clear. They could try to leverage the relationship, but it held no weight here. 3 days later, the real escalation started. I was at the main shop. Midday Wednesday. Moderate traffic. Fixing a phone when my tech lead came back looking uncomfortable. There's a woman at the counter. Says she's your mother. She's making a scene. I walked out front. Salma, standing at the counter with customers behind her, loud and performing grief, hand to her chest, voice trembling on purpose. My own son won't help his family. After we gave him life. After we found him good parents. Customers stared. My staff froze. Classic manipulation, public pressure, force a response where she could play the martyr and I could play the villain. I kept my voice level. We're not doing this here. Leave or I'll have you escorted out. You'd call security on your own mother? I hired them for exactly this situation. Her face tightened. She leaned in, whispering venom. You owe us. We could have made a different choice. We didn't. A threat. A reference to the procedure she'd later admit to scheduling. Even then, she weaponized my existence. I gestured to my tech lead. He called security. She left before they arrived, but not before tossing one last line over her shoulder. This isn't over. In the back room, my jaw locked so tight it hurt. I couldn't unclench for 10 minutes. That evening, Dev called. His voice was tight. Ferris showed up at the kiosk. During rush, tried to pull me aside for a man-to-man talk. Said we stole his son. That we poisoned you against your family. Customers heard everything. Rage hit instantly. Coming after me was one thing. Dragging Rena and Dev into it crossed a line. What happened? I told him to leave. He wouldn't. Rena stepped in, set boundaries. Loud enough for the whole kiosk to hear. He left eventually, but not because he wanted to. He was right about one thing. Ferris wasn't done. 2 days later, a supplier called from an unknown number. Got a weird call. Someone saying you're going bankrupt. That you won't pay invoices. Wanted to check in. Who called? Didn't give a name. Older guy. Said he was family. I thanked him and called 2 more suppliers. Both had received similar calls. Ferris still had connections from his delivery days, and he was weaponizing all of them. Then came the licensing complaint. Anonymous tip triggered an inspection. My paperwork was clean, but the disruption cost me 2 days and 1 wholesale account that paused orders until things stabilized. The inspector apologized. Said the complaint was obviously bogus, but the city had to respond. A week later, my second location got hit with a safety complaint. Different angle, same intent. Baseless. Disruptive. The pattern was obvious. Keep hitting me until I broke or paid. I went fully procedural. Installed cameras at both shops. Gave staff a script. Please leave or we'll call security. Called a lawyer. Had a cease and desist drafted. No trespass notices. One more incident and it became criminal. The lawyer mailed everything certified. Warned me it could take time. 3 days later, my phone lit up with texts. Noor, you got a lawyer? Seriously? Layla, this is extreme. Salma, after everything we've done for you. Blocked all 3. They tried new numbers. Blocked those too. 2 weeks after the cease and desist, they showed up at my main shop. Together. Peak hours. Saturday. Maximum audience. My tech lead came to the back. They're here. Both of them. At the counter, Ferris was trying to charm customers. Salma stood beside him looking wounded and holy. She always did know how to perform. We need to talk, Ferris said. This has gone too far. Leave, I said. Or we call it in. We're your parents. We deserve respect. Salma's breathing was ragged. She'd been spiraling for weeks. Ignored, confronted, legally shut out. Ferris was pushing her forward like a malfunctioning weapon. You don't get to show up after 19 years, I said. 19 years? Salma snapped. You act like we abandoned you on a street corner. We found you a home. What else did you find? I asked. Before that, Ferris paled. This isn't the place. What did you book? I repeated, staring directly at her. She started shaking. Not with fear, rage with nowhere left to go. We scheduled the procedure when we found out it was a boy, she spat. We didn't go through with it. You should be grateful. The shop went silent. Customers, staff, everyone heard it. Ferris blanched. She doesn't mean that. We were young, but you meant it enough to schedule it, I said. Meant it enough to resent me for existing. I turned to security. Call it in. Trespass. Salma screamed. Ferris pleaded. Security arrived. Police followed. They were escorted out. I stayed behind the counter, steady on the outside, a live wire on the inside. Afterward, I addressed the shop. Sorry for the disruption. Those people won't be back. People nodded. A few offered quiet support. One older man told me I'd done the right thing. That helped more than he knew. In the back room, tinnitus rang in my skull. I stayed there until closing. I texted Rena and Dev. It's handled. That night, Noor texted from another new number. Called me cruel. Said I was destroying the family. I sent one line back. They scheduled an appointment to end me. They don't get access after that. Blocked the number. 3 days later, Layla texted from yet another number. We need to talk. Just you and me, please. I didn't respond to Layla's text for 3 days. Let it sit. When I finally replied, I kept it minimal. One question. Why? Her response took hours. Long message. Said she needed to show me something. Said it was important. Against better judgment, I agreed to meet. But my way. Coffee shop 2 blocks from my place. Afternoon. 1 hour max. She showed up carrying a manila folder. Looked nervous. Different nervous than the cafe meeting. This felt genuine. No performance. We sat. She didn't order anything. Just slid the folder across the table. I found this cleaning out old storage. Thought you should have it. Inside was a school form. Elementary level. Multiple dates. Sign-out sheet for early pickup. Most kids had parent signatures. My row had a pattern. Not picked up, written over and over. Dozen times at least. While my sister's rows showed regular pickups. Evidence of deliberate neglect. Documented. Dated. No room for interpretation. Underneath was a photo. Kindergarten age. Me in those sparkly clips and a visibly feminine jacket. Adults in the background. Salma laughing. Ferris turned away. Other families looking uncomfortable. Proof that they knew. Proof that the cruelty was intentional. I was too young to remember this clearly, Layla said. But I asked Mom about it a few years ago. She said it was just practical. That you were being dramatic about it. Practical? The word tasted bitter. I didn't believe her anymore, so I kept digging. Found these. There's more too. Journal entries from Noor. About how Mom used to tell us you were the reason money was tight. That you were the problem. Why are you showing me this? Because I need out. Her voice cracked. I'm stuck in their orbit. They control everything. My husband left last year. I'm back living with them. They monitor my money, my phone, everything. I can't breathe. What do you want from me? A job lead. Anything. Budgeting help? I've got decent skills but no network. And they've isolated me from everyone who could help. I studied her face. Looking for the angle. The manipulation. But she just looked tired. Desperate. Defeated in a way I recognized from looking in mirrors during my worst years with Ferris and Salma. What did they tell you to ask me for? Nothing. They don't know I'm here. This is real. Why should I believe you? She pulled out her phone. Showed me texts. Salma coordinating with Noor about using Layla to soften him. Plans to get the sister angle working. Instructions to make it emotional. They think I'm still their messenger. I'm not. I sat back. Processed. This could be another layer of manipulation. Or it could be genuine. Either way, the folder was real. The documentation was real. That mattered. One question. What's the worst thing you heard them say about me? She didn't hesitate. Mom said it would have been easier if you died as a baby. That it would have saved everyone trouble. The words landed. Hit something deep. But they didn't surprise me anymore. She said that 2 months ago. When you refused the money. She was raging. Said you were ungrateful. That you owed your existence to her, choosing not to go through with the appointment. There it was again. Confirmation. The scheduled procedure. The deliberate choice. I made a decision. Pulled out my phone. Called one of my business contacts. Explained I had someone looking for administrative work. Set up an interview for next week. Then I gave Layla practical advice. How to open an account they couldn't access. Bank across town. Different branch from where Salma worked. Paperless statements only. Email they didn't monitor. How to route income away from their view. Direct deposit to the new account. Keep the old account alive with minimum balance so they wouldn't notice. They're going to notice eventually, Layla said. By then, you'll have enough saved to leave. First month, last month, security deposit. That's your target. How much do you need? She calculated quickly. About 4,000. Timeline? 3 months if I'm aggressive. Make it 2. They're escalating. The longer you stay, the harder it gets. She nodded. Processing. Taking mental notes. This is it. I help you once. You get your independence. After that, we're not close. We're not family dinners and holidays. We're polite acquaintances who share DNA. I understand. Good, because if you turn around and feed info back to them, I'll make sure you regret it. She nodded, took the folder back, paused at the door. For what it's worth, I am sorry. For all of it. I didn't respond. She left. I sat there another hour, staring at nothing. The interview went well. Layla got the job, entry-level admin at a local accounting firm. Not glamorous, but stable. $32,000 a year. Benefits. She moved fast, opened the account, started routing money, kept her old account barely alive. Salma noticed the job, but not the separate finances. Layla played it smart, complained about the low pay, said most of it went to gas and parking. Salma bought it. 6 weeks in, she had $3,000 saved. Found a sublet through a coworker, studio apartment, signed the lease, packed in the middle of a workday while they were out, took only essentials, left everything they'd given her. Clean break. Left a note. Simple. I'm out. Don't contact me. We're done. Changed her number that same day. Blocked them all immediately. Salma showed up at her work twice. Building security handled it both times. After the second attempt, Layla filed for a restraining order. Judge granted it immediately after seeing the texts Salma had sent. Threats mixed with guilt. Classic pattern. I went to Rena and Dev's that night. Told them everything. The folder. The texts. Layla's confirmation about the scheduled procedure. Dev looked furious. They scheduled it because you were a boy, then treated you like garbage for existing. That's evil. Yeah. What are you going to do? Finish it. 3 months passed. December rolled in. Cold. Early dark. Holiday season making everyone reflective or desperate or both. Layla had settled into her job, moved into a friend's sublet while she saved for her own place. She'd text occasionally. Quick updates, nothing heavy. I'd reply with short encouragement. We kept distance, building something that might eventually look like a real sibling connection, but letting it develop naturally instead of forcing it, because DNA said we should. Noor tried a health scare angle. Showed up at my shop claiming Salma had a heart attack. I called the hospital. No admission under that name. Fake. I told her to leave. She threatened to go public about how cold I was. I told her to go ahead. She did. Posted online about her heartless brother who abandoned his family. Tagged local business groups. Made up stories about holidays I'd supposedly refused to attend. Painted herself as the victim. Me as the villain. My response was measured. I posted the cease and desist, the police report from the trespass, and one statement. My biological parents gave me away at age 6 for being born male. They recently confirmed they scheduled an appointment to terminate the pregnancy for the same reason. They have no access to my life. This is targeted harassment. I included screenshots, school pickup sheets, the cropped photo, the timeline of their demands. No emotion, no theatrics, just facts. Community response was immediate and overwhelming. Support poured in. Noor's posts got reported and removed. People came into my shop just to say they'd dealt with similar family. Sales jumped 20% that month. Funny how transparency cleans house. Ferris tried a legal move, filed a defamation complaint. My lawyer handled it. 4 months, 2 hearings, a stack of paperwork, dismissed. Countersuit approved for frivolous litigation. They'd owe my legal fees eventually. Around $8,000. It cost me sleep and time I wouldn't get back, but the boundary was worth it. Christmas week, Layla warned me they were planning an ambush. They knew I'd be at Rena and Dev's place on Christmas Day. Wanted to force a reconciliation. Leverage guilt, nostalgia, cultural pressure, old tactics. I changed plans. Texted Rena and Dev. New venue, Layla's sublet. Christmas dinner. Just us 4. Christmas Day was simple and perfect. Rena cooked. Dev talked about finally retiring the kiosk. Layla told us about her job, basic admin work, but she was thriving. We laughed. We ate. We existed together without tension. The kind of family dinner I had spent my entire childhood imagining. Around 7 p.m., my phone started buzzing. Different numbers. Same people. Where are you? We're waiting. This is disrespectful. I replied to Ferris only, I know you planned an ambush. I'm spending Christmas with people who care about me. Lose my number. Blocked all 3 immediately. New Year came and went. Quiet. I spent it with Rena, Dev, and Layla. Watched the ball drop. Made resolutions. Laughed about nothing important. It felt like borrowing a life from someone who grew up loved. February. My birthday. 26 now. Rena and Dev threw a small party. Friends, cake, warmth. Dev made a toast about chosen family, about how blood doesn't make people stay. Choice does. I looked around the room and felt something settle in me. Peace, maybe. March brought spring. Business expanded. 2 more techs hired. Wholesale line grew again. Layla got promoted. Started dating someone from work. Steady guy, grounded. I met him once. Approved instantly. She looked safe with him. That mattered more than anything. One afternoon, Noor walked past my shop. Looked through the window. We made eye contact. I didn't move. She kept walking, and I noticed her phone screen was cracked clean through. She didn't come in. Pride or fear, didn't matter. She walked past like a ghost from a dead life. April. Almost a year since the first reconnection. The harassment had stopped, not because they'd found maturity, but because consequences had finally caught up. The trespass charge stuck. Small, but enough to make Ferris lose a long-term delivery contract. Too much customer disturbance risk. He appealed. Got denied. Paperwork doesn't sympathize. Layla told me he'd been piecing together day labor ever since. Salma faced her own fallout. The video of her screaming about wishing I hadn't been born circulated online. Customers recognized her. A manager pulled her aside and said her presence made people uncomfortable. HR framed it more gently, but the result was her termination. Retail doesn't tolerate walking PR disasters. Noor's MLM collapsed too. Hard to build a team when your name brings up chaos on Google. Her downline evaporated. She sold her car to cover debts from products she couldn't move. I didn't celebrate any of it. Didn't need to. Life handles people like that eventually. But the damage they did to me didn't evaporate with theirs. Trauma lingers. I still couldn't shake the insomnia that started during the supplier sabotage. Still checked my locks 3 times every night. Still felt my stomach drop when an unknown number called. A customer raised her voice last month. Normal frustration. I still dropped a screwdriver. Had to pick it up twice before my hands worked. Spent 20 minutes in the back room breathing through it. Dev noticed. Told me gently that maybe it was time to talk to someone. Maybe it is. Healing isn't linear. Last I heard, Ferris was bouncing between odd jobs. Salma was working part-time at a dollar store. Noor was doing nails at a strip mall salon, pretending the MLM never existed. Layla was thriving. New apartment, new job, real stability. She fought hard for it, earned it. And me? 3 shops. A growing wholesale line. Parents who loved me. A sister who rebuilt herself. A community that had my back. I wasn't just surviving them anymore. I'd outgrown the entire shape of the world they tried to force me into. They'd given me away for being born the wrong gender. Scheduled an appointment to end me before I took my first breath. Treated me like garbage for existing anyway. I took that garbage and built something real. Not because of them. In spite of them. The thing about being cropped out of the family photo, eventually you realize you don't need to be in their frame. You build your own. And from where I'm standing, it looks pretty good. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel and help us bring you more and better stories. Thanks.